Hello, this is for Amber's 4530 creative writing as a profession class. It's putting into account our roundup for this coming week. And this is in regards to finding out what editors and publishers are looking for. And I did it with the backdrop of looking at Insta poetry, which is essentially the hot button issue for poetry at this moment. Right around this time, it has the most followers and such. If you are not publishing through college presses and small presses and such, usually there's a lot of poetry that gets published that is just for exposure or just for the love of poetry. A lot of it is not it's not marketable for finding a return on. So a lot of people you'll find who turn in poetry do it because they love poetry and aren't really looking for much else other than that. The things that sort of set Insta poetry apart a little bit is because it does establish a few things inside of it that speaks to people nowadays, which gives it that marketability and speaks to what makes a work publishable, also makes it desirable for editors and publishers to want to put out. Part of it comes in the big caveat of having an established audience. You'll see this in the fact that poetry can be considered many things. Its definition a lot of times is somewhat elusive. This is why you'll see people who are musicians, lyricists, rappers and such, they will put out or have someone put out books of their lyrics or unfinished poems or poetry that's completed that they've been doing on the side. Jewel, Tupac, Billy Corrigan of the Smashing Pumpkins, Jill Scott. There's quite a few of them that do this, and it works into that idea that they already have people who are interested in what they'll put out, and thus will be there as an audience ready to consume that content once it's released. This speaks into brevity and voice, which also goes in line with what makes the Insta poets so marketable and why they have such a captive audience and such. It's that idea that they're just short, to the point, easily consumed. You can sort of scroll on. It's not a big investment, but yet it is a voice that you want to come back to time and time again to get more of that instant connection. You feel what they're going through just from a few lines and nothing else. They also make it look easy. That was another thing we found. It's sort of kind of flippant to just mark it off as consumable and not having any greater value than just those one little flashes of brilliance here and there. But it really does take away from the fact that there is a professionalism to it when done right. And it sort of goes back to many shorter forms of poetry that have been around for thousands of years. Just the fact that it has taken this form and it is connected with the internet and such to find a captive audience already doesn't make it any less poetry than anything else. There have been haikus and three-line poetry and flash poetry for a long time before Insta poetry ever came along on the scene. So yeah, this is part of my presentation and what makes Insta poetry and poetry marketable.